Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Markets to Watch from Smack the Markets for week commencing the 28th of June. So last week we had a lot of sideways price action. It seemed like the markets were waiting for something to really sort of get them stimulated and see them on to the next move. This week again we've got rather light news schedule for the first couple of days, but then things do pick up, and of course at the end of the week we've got the non-farm payroll numbers, which I'm sure will create a bit of excitement in a number of sort of asset classes. So let's take a look at a few markets here and some of the opportunities that we're keeping an eye on going into the beginning of this week. So let's take a look at the index markets first of all, and again we can see these have managed to move on sort of quite nicely through last week. If we have a look at the Dow future here on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that we had a nice move up to the 34,400 area, and now in early trade this week we've now started to see a bit of weakness coming in this morning. So we're starting to see some reasonable trend structure here coming back into these indexes. Areas here where we could sort of potentially look for support, I think around this 34,200 area. It's a structure area that we've had in our charts for a while. You can see that going back through time the market has actually respected this level here on a number of time frames. Below that we get into 34,100 where we have the next sort of structure point. The bit I prefer with a higher one, of course, is that 34,100 does actually sort of take out this sort of previous low, which puts into question the sort of strength of this trend. So if we do see some support around 34,200, I'll certainly be looking at opportunities here, buying opportunities to take advantage of the strengthening trend on this market. Now if we just take a quick look at the other markets, now that was the Dow. The S&P futures here, again these have pushed up to all-time highs last week, or new all-time highs last week. So the Dow certainly lagging behind the performance here of the S&Ps, and there's certainly room there for a catch-up play, and a similar here with the Nasdaq as well. So you can see the Nasdaq managing to get up to new highs last week again, so we're just sitting underneath that sort of 14,400 level. Out of the three, my preference personally is the Dow. I was away last week so I didn't manage to sort of capture any of those moves, but the Dow to me looks a better catch-up play compared to the other two here. Now if we come over to the metal markets, in fact before we have a look at silver, let's just take a look at gold. Now gold has just been sort of pegged sideways here over the past sort of week, and you can just see the sort of sideways price action there. The same with silver, and I think out of the two I'd prefer the price action here on silver for an opportunity. Things that are sort of interesting here is that the market here on silver has just sort of put in a very small candle here on the weekly chart. We have had higher lows here. The trend is certainly not anything to write home about, but we have had higher lows forming, particularly when the market sort of gets close to this sort of 50 period moving average, and you can see the market sort of sitting on top of that price point at the moment. So this is a sort of a tentative market on my watch list at this moment in time, because these higher time frames are looking a little bit sort of stretched in the context of trend, and there's really not a trend on the daily. But if we come down to the 4-hour time frame, you can see that we've sort of got these higher lows starting to form here. The market's clearly finding support of these key structure levels at 25,800 and $26. You come to the 26,300 and you can see that we've had a level in there for a while. The market's just sort of sold off that level at the moment, which doesn't concern me too much, but this is the level that I'm particularly interested in for the market to get above, and that's the 26,400. That takes in these previous two highs here, and you can see that just if the market gets above 26,400, then we've got a trading window up to around 26,700, and it just gives us that confirmation that 26,300 has been broken, and also 26,400 has been broken as well, and that just gives us that bit of extra sort of confirmation there. We've got some strength in the indicators here at the moment as well, and I think this is a what if play if that US dollar weakens. If we see some weakness coming into the dollar this week, then silver could move up to and close those trading windows, and it could give that a bit of a boost. So coming over to the currency markets at the moment, some of the best ones that I've been looking at here have been around the Great British Pound. So there's a lot of mixed markets, as I mentioned earlier, and a lot that have been sort of pegged sideways for the past week. I think the Great British Pound is certainly seeing some strength this morning. The Aussie is looking sort of fairly weak. So we've got, from a strengths and weakness perspective, we've got the Great British Pound against the Aussie looking supportive to the long side. Again, if we take a look at this on the higher time frames and take a look at this on the weekly chart, we can see that Great British Pound against the Aussie has been in a long trend forming here. Past few weeks we've just been pegging sideways around the sort of 183 area. Again, we've got moving averages in the right order, we've got convergence on our indicators here, and we've got a nice trading window above price. So again, if this trend is going to continue, we may well sort of find support around this sort of price point and look for the next move higher. So if we come to the daily time frame, again you can see this sort of pullback that we had last week back into the 183 area. Again, we've got those higher lows forming here, we've got higher highs. At the moment we've got a rather interesting exhaustion candle sort of looking at this moment in time, and this is very early in the day at this moment. But if this again continues and this does form to be a bottom here, then of course the next move is likely to go above the 185 area and a completion of that trend. So again, coming down to the lower time frames, we see us starting to turn around here on the sort of mid time frames. I'm not seeing a setup just yet on these lower time frames where we like to get entered, but again, trends are starting to turn around, geometry is starting to turn around, and so is the strength of momentum as well. So there's a few markets there that we're keeping a close eye on going into the beginning of this week. I certainly hope it helps, and look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.